Reading with your kids.
Hey, so great to see you. Come on in. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is a very special edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guest today is our Dean of all things STEM and STEAM, Jennifer Swanson. Jennifer is here to give you a preview of a special series of episodes that we are producing that we are calling Solve It. This is a great show that you and your kids are going to love to listen to together. Before Jennifer joins us, here's a sneak preview featuring my friend Derek and astronaut Katie Coleman.
Hi, Katie. My question for you is, have you ever seen an asteroid up close while you're up in space?
Derek, that is a great question. No one has asked me that. I have seen evidence of asteroids when I was up in space. And the place we see them, asteroids are, they can be really, really tiny, like grains of sand, or they can be big, giant things like we see in the movies, or they can be meteors that are falling down to Earth and burning up mostly before they get here. But we would actually see little tiny little dents in our windows from micrometeorites, we call them, instead of asteroids. And when spacewalkers are out, they actually see those little marks all over the space station. So we are in space with the asteroids. We don't really get to see them, but we do see evidence.
Joining us on the line right now from Jacksonville and Florida, she is our Dean of all things STEM and STEAM. Please welcome back Jennifer Swanson. Jennifer, how are you?
I am doing great. How are you up in Boston, Jed?
I am excellent. I went and we bought some great flowers. And, check this out. For some reason, I really don't know why, but there's this beautiful Boston group, and they came to us and they said, we really like your yard. Would you like this beautiful tree for you to plant in your yard? And I go, dude, absolutely. So this weekend, we're going to be planting this beautiful Eastern redbud tree. And it's so cool. So now I have at least one tree on my property that I'll know what it is.
You are just like me. I've had people, we have flowers that we actually hired the nursery to pick out all the flowers for us. And I've had people drive by and go, those are so beautiful. What are they? I'm like, I have no idea.
They're flowers.
But they're beautiful, aren't they?
Absolutely. Well, we're really excited to have Jennifer here. She only has time for a quick visit. You know Jennifer is here on Tuesdays, bringing us STEM Tuesdays, telling us all the great things that we can find on the Mix-Up Files and her STEM Tuesday blog. But today, I've been telling you, I've been giving you sneak previews. I've been hinting at the fact that Jennifer and I are working on a special series of episodes for the Reading with Your Kids podcast that we are calling Solve It. And it was Jennifer's brainchild. So I invited her here today. We're going to debut these episodes next week. So I wanted Jennifer to be able to give you guys just an idea of what Solve It's all about. So Jennifer, take it away.
So I am so excited for Solve It. It is, if you can imagine, and you've heard me tell my story a billion times before, I started a science club in my garage when I was 7, and I have loved science ever since. So my great joy and honor has been the last 12 years writing books for kids about science and engineering. And along the way, I have met so many amazing scientists and engineers who just love their jobs. They're so passionate about what they do. And while I write the books and the books are cool, I was like, I wish there was a way that I could share these scientists and engineers, their passion for what they do with kids. Maybe they could talk to them or hear them talk about their jobs. And so I was like, you know what I'll do? I'll start a podcast. And who am I going to ask to start a podcast? Why, Jed, of course.
Awesome.
I couldn't do this without Jedley.
It's awesome. And I have to tell you, we have been interviewing some of the most amazing people. Can we tell them some of the people that we've spoken to?
We can tell them some of the people, sure.
All right,
yes.
So first, I've waited my whole life. I grew up watching from the very first space launch. I've been watching astronauts, and I love astronauts. And here it is, at this point in my life, I finally get a chance to speak to an astronaut. And she was amazing. She made fun of my hair, or lack thereof. But she was great, and it was a lot of fun. And we found out what it's like to live in space.
Yes. And that was Katie Coleman, astronaut Katie Coleman, and she's going to be on our show. And let's see, who else do we have? Oh, Dr. Brian Helmuth, who is with Northeastern University and is an aquanaut, which is so cool. And he's going to talk to us about, where do aquanauts eat lunch? But also one of his new projects that he's working on, which is a secret underwater forest.
I know, it was wild.
I know, right?
Speaking of aquanaut, can we tell them the biggie?
Yes.
All right. Check this out. My wife, she actually snuck in to get to see our guest when we were interviewing him. Fabian Cousteau, the grandson of Jacques Cousteau. I mean, and he was such a cool guy.
He is. He's a great guy, and he's such an amazing conservationist, ocean conservationist too. But of course, we also don't want to forget our STEAM side. So we are doing experts, artists. So go ahead and tell us about, let's see, the person you found out of thin air.
Oh man.
Sue Ann Webster, magician extraordinaire.
The first lady of magic in Australia. She was wonderful. She's been a buddy of mine for so long, and she gave us a peek into the science of magic and illusion and bringing people on wonderful stories.
And then we have an author-illustrator who is one of my dearest friends, Vanessa Brantley Newton. She does amazing picture books and illustrations, and she is going to help kids figure out how to make their illustrations have emotions. How do you draw faces, which I cannot do. I'm a stick figure person, put a little smile, that's it. But her illustrations practically come alive, like, Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Except beautiful.
And she was so great. And one of the things we didn't mention, I've been talking about it in my teases, but this podcast, Reading with Your Kids, it's for parents to find books that they can read with their kids, no matter what age they are. But Solve It is a show that we want you to listen to with your kids. Or actually, this is really important. You're going to love it, but your kids are going to love it too.
Well, and also the big thing about this is each episode comes with a challenge for the kids.
Yes.
So a challenge that we want them to do, because we want them to kind of solve the same problem that maybe the experts or the scientists or engineers have to do. So there'll be challenges for you to do. You take a picture of your challenge, and then you tag us on social media, and we'll send it out. And I will give you, should I give them one of the previews of the coolest challenges we got?
Absolutely.
This one was from Grammy award-winning composer and conductor Eric Whitacre, who composed music to Deep Field, which is the amazing discovery that was made by the Hubble Space Telescope. So I'm not going to give you the whole challenge, but a preview of the challenge is he asks you to compose music.
Yeah. And this is the guy who who created a piece of music that is as big as the universe.
Yep. It's amazing. So we have challenges for the kids, but then we have a cool website that we've developed. It's called solveitforkids.com, and there you will find also, because you just said it, there will be a book list. So if you want to learn more about this topic, if the kids want to learn more about it, or the parents want to learn more about it, we'll of course have some books that kids can go look up and figure out maybe this is what they want to do, or just learn more about the topic. Because I'm hoping to inspire all of those kids who were like me. Because this is my way. I was trying to figure out how to share all of this passion with kids right now, some of you might have heard about this thing called SciComm. It's a hashtag SciComm. Science communication is big. Why? Because right now in this world, everyone is talking about science, right? So one of the ways that I got inspired to do this is, I don't know if you've ever heard of Alan Alda's Clear and Vivid podcast.
I have.
Yeah. Now, some of you might know of Alan Alda as Hawkeye, on MASH growing up. Raise your hand if you listen to MASH. There's many hands going up, I'm sure, right? So now his passion is to help with science communication. And that's kind of where I got the idea to make this into a podcast for kids because, my books, I write science for kids. But what I wanted to do was kind of introduce the kids to the scientists and engineers themselves, but bring it down not just to the adult level, but to the kid level. So we make all these scientists and engineers talk at a level that everybody will understand and find exciting.
And one of the things that I loved, I think it was the nuclear physicist that we were speaking to, and he really emphasized the fact that there's a space for everyone in science. So you don't have to be the all A student. They need everybody to participate, and there's a way for everybody to add and to be a part of these great scientific discoveries. So if your kid is out there and he or she doesn't feel like, I'm not smart enough to do this or that, have them listen to the show. They're going to be inspired, and they're going to realize, hey, I can do it. I can be a part of all this stuff.
Exactly. And they don't have to just be scientists or engineers. We have illustrators, we have magicians. I mean, I can't even list all of the people that we have. There's so many. We just keep getting more guests to come on the show. But basically we're looking for anybody who solved problems. Oh, a dentist. That's right. Remember we had a dentist. Mm-hmm. My daughter-in-law, Dr. Emily Swanson is on. So you're going to talk all about teeth, in a cool way. And if you have suggestions for people that you would like to be on our show or questions that you'd like to ask, you can contact us through our website.
Excellent. Yes. And is there a way there for folks to get on an email list or something like that?
There is. At the moment, you can sign up to be on the subscribe to our newsletter, and we're going to send out the newsletter. And you can be on that and learn more about the upcoming shows and all that kind of stuff. And eventually we're going to have a subscriber situation where you can sign up for that to get all of the behind the scene extras kind of thing. And there might even be a little, certificate of completion if you do one of these challenges.
Da, 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 da. Well, I'm really excited. Remind everybody the website address, please, Jen.
It is www.solveitforkids.com.
See, I said remind them, and you had to remind me because I have to write it down now. So, anyway, so I'm really excited. So, the first episodes, they're going to debut, give you a sneak preview because you guys have been so loyal to the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We're going to give you a sneak preview starting May 19th here on the Reading with Your Kids podcast. You can also find those episodes at solveitforkids.com. And then in June, we're going to be launching off into Solveit's going to be its own podcast and its own spot on Apple and all those other platforms. It's going to be out of this world and under the ocean, and we have to find someone to dig down into the center of the earth.
Oh, okay. I'm making notes. We'll find someone to do that. Yes.
All right. So make sure you catch it. Solve It is coming May 19th. Jennifer, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me, Judd.
Please be sure to join us for the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. And please mark your calendar so you can catch the first episode of Solve It. Hey, you don't want to miss it. It's going to debut here on the Reading with Your Kids podcast. So to make sure you don't miss it, please subscribe to the show. And you can subscribe to the show on the iHeartRadio app, on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast. And also go to Solve It for Kids KidsPodcast.com and sign up for our newsletter. I'm so excited. This is going to be a great show. We want you and your kids to be regular members of our Solve It for Kids family. In the meantime, I want to thank my guests for making today's special episode so very wonderful. Of course, I want to thank our Dean of all things STEM and STEAM, Jennifer Swanson. I want to thank my buddy Derek. I want to thank astronaut Katie Coleman. And I want to thank my incredible team, starting with my producer, Fatima Khan, my author ambassador, Peggy Cotto, my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me, and, of course, we want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. Thank you so much for marking your calendar so you and your kids can be the first to hear Solve It on May 19th. But most of all, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the love that you are giving your kids in this really uncertain and kind of scary time. You are making such a difference in this world. You're making the world a better place. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.